I just want to take a moment to recognize Judy Van Horn, if you will wave Judy so everybody knows who you are. She spearheaded the search for our new volleyball coach. She's the Executive Associate Athletics Director in charge of risk management, and she serves as our Senior Women's Administrator. So she's very busy, so we appreciate the work that you put in there. And our senior staff and Chris Rogers as well, our support staff. It was a very extensive search. We were very much involved, and we're delighted today to introduce Coach Mendoza and his wife Megan, who's here as well. I'll share just a couple of points about where we are today. Coach Mendoza comes to us from High Point University, where he served the last 2 years, and he appeared in postseason play. In his first year at High Point, he won the tournament championship and went to the postseason. This past year, he lost in the tournament championship, went undefeated in the regular season, and got an at-large berth, which was the first time in the history of the Big South Conference that there was an at-large berth. Prior to that, he was at Creighton University, where he was associate head coach in charge of recruiting, a top 10 program that appeared in postseason play quite often. Matter of fact, I think Coach Mendoza has been part of the NCAA postseason appearance 7 out of the last 8 years. So certainly something that's very important to us. As we went through the process of securing a new coach, so many qualities came forward about Tom and what he's done in volleyball. His ability to teach. I've been to a lot of volleyball games the last few years, and I'm still trying to learn the strategy that's involved. And I heard a lot from him about what happens during a volleyball match that I used to think, well, I just thought you just tried to hammer it and score a point and return it. But there's a lot more to it than that. So his ability to teach and coach was impressive. The communication skills that he have with the student athletes, and also strength in recruiting. So there were a lot of things that were very important to us as we went out to hire a new volleyball coach. So we're honored to have Megan and Tom in our family now. So I introduce to you our new volleyball coach, Tom Mendoza. And I'm going to step off the podium and sit with you guys. So, Tom, good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't let Coach Tanner fool you. His volleyball knowledge is better than he lets on. I have a couple people to thank before we get to our vision for the volleyball program's future. First being Coach Tanner, Judy Van Horn, Chris Rogers, and the entire search committee for making myself and Megan feel so welcome and for this opportunity. Maybe most importantly, thank Megan for her work in making this transition happen. It's been a hectic few weeks, but we are here in South Carolina, in Columbia, and we are very excited to get going and now get all that tedious stuff out of the way and get to work in making our program what we want it to be. We're also thrilled to announce that Gamecock great Shonda Cole is going to stay on staff. Getting to know her over the last few weeks, it's easy to see why so many people speak so highly of her. I think she's a great mentor and role model, not just for what can be achieved in a South Carolina uniform, but what our student athletes can go on to do and how they can positively impact lives after graduation. So I'm excited to continue to get to know her and to get to work with her on a daily basis as we build the future of our program. Thank Coach Tanner for that intro and some of my background, but for those of you in the room that are less familiar with me, I believe this is somewhere around my 11th year in Division I volleyball coaching. I did not plan on getting into a coaching career. I studied management information systems. I thought I was going to be a computer programmer or designer, and after college, I began coaching just as a way to give back and pay it forward for the great experience that I was able to have as a student athlete. Especially in college, I had a great coach who's now at Lewis University, Dan Friend, and the experience and the growth that I was able to have, and that experience with my teammates was something that I valued in both shaping me and being some of the best times as a student athlete. And I wanted to give that opportunity to future young players going through that process. So I got into coaching. I got hooked. I was able to, I was very fortunate that I was able to be part of some special groups along the way, and that have ultimately led me to this opportunity at South Carolina. A little more background info. My mother was the athletic director, PE teacher, and girls volleyball coach from my hometown, Buffalo Grove High School. And she instilled in me that you don't have to be female to be an advocate for women and women's sports. And what an opportunity that especially team sports can be in the growth and development of future leaders. And I think I carry with a lot of those lessons with me today. And I think those lessons are going to help us, again, instill those in future generations of student athletes. Although this is a performance-driven career, I think we have to remember that ultimately our job is to prepare our student athletes not just for the challenges they face in their 4 or 5 years on campus, but how to go out and impact and improve the world around them once they leave our campus. And I think we have to remember to do that, and that ultimately is my goal, even though we're in a career of wins and losses and national championships and surrounded by very competitive people. That's okay, but we'll make sure in our program we're not losing sight of those important lessons. That has ultimately been my goal. Going back to, I was fortunate enough to be able to give a speech at high school graduation, and I don't remember too much about it, but there was one line that has somehow stuck with me, which was trying to leave a place better than when I found it. And again, I don't know how I remember with that, but it stuck with me, and that's something that I've always tried to do and have had pride in saying that I've been able to do at many places, and that's ultimately my goal here at South Carolina. And I think we can do that. As you talk with the staff of the athletic department, the coaches around different programs, the student athletes within our program, the recruits, South Carolina is a special place, and we got that feeling right away. And I think this program can be a special program. There is room for growth, but there's also unlimited potential. And now we begin the process of instilling those principles to get our program to where we want it to be. I think we're going to be humble, we're going to be disciplined, but we're not going to take a back seat to anybody. And I think, we need to have, we're going to emphasize the hard work, the team chemistry, the courage within competition, regardless of who is on the other side of the net. And I think that experience to play in the SEC and to compete at this stage is something that's pretty special for our student athletes. I chose to come here because I see the potential and room for growth within this program. And I think it's a place where our recruits, our student athletes, and the University of South Carolina fans can come and experience the top Division I volleyball in the nation. And I'm very excited to begin that journey, and I thank you all for the opportunity.
So, questions over here with Dave? Coach David Cloninger with the Charleston Post and Courier. When did you first, when were you first contacted by Ray, and how did this process play out, especially over the holidays?
Yeah, thank you, and I look forward to getting to meet with you. It's been fast. Like you said, it probably began right before the holidays. It's been kind of a building process. Those initial conversations, over the last few weeks, just introducing, where the program is, what makes University of South Carolina so special, and it was one of those opportunities that the more you learn about the program, the athletic department, the university, the community as a whole around the university and around Columbia, you just gain an appreciation for how special this place is and how bought in everyone is to this program and the athletic department being so successful. So that was a lot of the conversations, and that came across pretty clear. As we had those conversations, I also realized that a lot of those principles aligned with the things that I value and what I want that experience for our student athletes to be. So those were kind of the communications. Then obviously, as Megan and I were able to physically come here and visit Columbia, we just love everything about the city. We've been exploring a lot of restaurants, and lots of trips to different stores right now, getting stuff for the house. But we're just very excited about being in Columbia and experiencing everything that the town and the university has.
In the back here. Hey, Coach. Matt Dowell with Watch Fox. Congratulations. Just wondering, what is the most intimidating part about coming to an SEC program where every game is going to be very competitive?
Yeah, I think you can pick whatever adjective you want: intimidating, challenging, exciting. That's what we sign up for. Especially we're surrounded in athletics by a lot of very competitive people, a lot of very driven people. I know as a student athlete myself, I was curious to see how good I could be, and I think that's what keeps you hungry each day, and pushing yourself. Whether you're coming off of a win or a loss, you just want to know how good you can be, and I think I see a lot of that in the student athletes that I've had a chance to work with, and there's lots of different paths to success. We don't have to win every match. We're probably not going to, but we try to instill that process where we're going to give ourselves a chance every day, and our student athletes are in a position to compete fiercely on a nightly basis, and hopefully more are going to go our way than not, but that rebounding off of a win or a loss is part of the process and ultimately part of their experience of developing.
Josh Heiber with Spurs and Feathers, the official publication of the Gamecock Club here. As a coach, what are some of your core principles and the things that you want to lay as the foundation to this program? And also, where did you get those from? Are there any specific people you took them from along your career?
Yeah, it's a great question. And as I mentioned, I really valued my experience as a student athlete and as a coach coming up and learning not just about coaching, but about coaching at the college level when you are going through such a formative time of young leaders' lives, and how those mistakes are going to, they're going to make mistakes. They're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. And this is a great place for them to learn and learn from their mistakes. And then be more prepared to go out and impact the world. But like I said, as I mentioned, I had a great coach in Dan Friend, who's at Lewis on the men's volleyball side, and I think he still is a great friend and mentor to me. We talk on a regular basis. I was able to come in at the Division I level with Kathy George out of Michigan State, who's just such a phenomenal coach. And has been successful in building that program up. It's a big stage in the Big Ten, and she's been able to sustain her success, and that's obviously impressive. And then went to Evansville for 2 years, and Mike Swan, who just ran such a great program as far as really emphasizing the experience of the student athletes, enjoying that experience, and enjoying that camaraderie of a team. And then I got to go to Creighton for 6 years and work with Kirsten Bernthal Booth and assistant coach Angie Oxley-Behrens. And I think they were maybe more of a balance of all of those, where, again, Kirsten is a fierce competitor, but she's very personable and very much about those relationships that you have with your teammates. So I think all of that kind of combines, where certain lessons have come from at this point, you kind of forget. It just gets meshed together. And again, what started in my head and what I've gradually picked up along the way all blends together. But I'm still learning, and that's part of the process too. Hopefully I'm a better coach tomorrow than I am today, and next year than a year from now. It's a process for all of us, and I hope that our entire team is developing that growth mindset.
John Whittle from the Big Spur. I was wondering how active you are in the recruiting process of student athletes, and what are a couple of the traits that you look for in identifying the players that you want?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think at the end of the day, we're all recruiters. We're recruiting student athletes, potential student athletes to come to University of South Carolina and be part of what we're doing. We're recruiting coaches. That right now we have an opening on our staff, and we're trying to get the best possible coach to come in and complete our staff and help our program get to where we want it to go. We're recruiting our current student athletes. In a time of transfers and lots of opportunities, we want our student athletes continually buying in and believing that this is the best possible place for them to go through that college experience, and this is a place where we can be successful on that national stage. As far as my role within the program, obviously we oversee that. We have a combination of scouting and recruiting that is just constantly, never ends. But we'll have a heavy hand in that. Sean Nicole is a great ambassador for our program. She's gonna, she already has handled a lot of that communication with the potential recruits, a lot of the coaches around both the club and high school level. But yeah, we handle that all as a program. But I think my experience certainly helps. I think I've been at various sizes of universities and to see what those different experiences are. One of the things that really attracted me to the University of South Carolina is I feel like it blends some of those experiences that I've been at. The big stage of the SEC and being able to, you're seeing it with the men's and women's basketball. Beach volleyball made the national tournament last year. There's success at a national level within University of South Carolina, but there's also a family atmosphere that a lot of times you only see at those smaller programs. So that was something that attracted myself and Megan to this environment. And I think it is a great experience. I think our current student athletes see that, and I think our future student athletes have seen that as they have gotten attracted and learned more about the university. But right now it's all hands on deck. We head into the recruiting season. Our quiet period ends next week, and I've got my suitcase ready. We're excited to hit the road. I need to get a little bit more South Carolina gear, but we'll get that taken care of.
Dr. Dave?
Tom, you kind of touched on this, but have you had a chance to meet with the current team yet, the returnees, and has anybody said that they might want to try their luck somewhere else?
To answer the first question, I've met with 3 of our current student athletes in person. They're already here on campus. The majority of the team will arrive this weekend. So I am looking forward to it. We did do a conference call, and they expressed how excited they are. None of our scholarship players are transferring, and that's obviously big. And this is very important. This is not a rebuilding process. Even though we haven't had the results or didn't have the results we wanted to last year, there is talent on this roster, and there is talent coming into this roster. This year and in future years. And I don't know if I would be the right person to start a complete rebuilding process. What I've had the experience more of is getting a group that has that and helping them get over the hump. And that's what I see here with this program is, we had 2 players that were honored with all SEC awards, who are both young players in our program, and then we have other future leaders that are coming up through, and we're going to help that group get over the hump and experience success both within the SEC on a national level, and I don't think that's too far off. Obviously, we have some holes to fill, especially first contact, serve and serve receive. Is such an important part of the game, and obviously you have to do that to be amongst those best teams, but we can do that, and I think we can get there. It's easier said than done, but that's what we're excited to get to work for. But yeah, they've all reached out. They've shot me some texts, or we had that initial conference call and just said how excited they are. I've been able to connect with most of our 18 class. I'm playing phone tag with a few, but everyone is excited. I mean, they love the University of South Carolina, and I think they got that feeling as soon as they stepped on campus, and the same as we had when we first stepped on campus.
Joe Cook for WLTX. Coach, this program has a history of not having a lot of success in the postseason. I guess for you, is success in the postseason going to be your measuring stick, or is that something that you guys are going to continually work towards?
You never know. Sometimes you set things as long-term goals and they happen sooner than you think, or maybe the other way around. We're gonna work to instill a process that is gonna enable sustainable success. And I don't want to sell the future on trying to achieve a certain goal in 1 year. We want to treat our student athletes the right way. We want to prepare them to compete on a nightly basis, and then you know, sometimes, like I said, sometimes the ball bounces your way. But yeah, ultimately our goal is to be competitive on a national level. That's the NCAA tournament. That's making runs in the NCAA tournament. You don't have to go undefeated in the SEC to get there. I think, you know, you're seeing the SEC grow as a group, and that benefit all of the programs. So I don't think you have to run the table to get where we want to go, but we do have to be more competitive on a nightly basis, and I think everyone within the program is eager to do that.
Well, 3 more questions, starting back here.
Greg Brzezinski, ABC Columbia. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you learn from your 2 years in the Millis Center that you think can help get you prepared for what you're able to experience and go through right now? And when did it sink in that this was a possibility, that this stage was something you would really enjoy being able to take on as well, too?
Yeah, I think you, like you said, you learn from some bigger environments, but you know, one of the things we talk about with our team is that narrow vision of on game day or game night, you know, keeping that attention between the lines. And I think that translates, and hopefully you know, you're able to narrow your focus but obviously that excitement and everything I've heard about the match atmosphere on campus is just amazing, and I'm excited to experience that. You know, but I think the exciting and comforting thing is, in some ways, volleyball is volleyball, and that's the comforting part. You know, Shonda and myself, you know, there's all this extra stuff that is obviously around it and comes with the exposure that, you know, that a platform like the University of South Carolina provides. But at the end of the day, we like coaching volleyball, and so I think there's a comfort level to getting back to the nuts and bolts of playing the game.
All right, last question.
Yeah, Andrew Rispacker from the State here in Columbia. Your profile there, your background was mentioned. The 2 different ways you got to the NCAA tournament the last couple of years, winning the conference tournament, then having the really good regular season, getting an at-large bid. What did you take from both of those experiences and your postseason experience overall that you can maybe apply to a program that hasn't had a whole lot recently?
Well, just taking those 2 specifically, but I think each year you take some lessons from it. But the first year we were able to really do what we wanted to, which was peak at the end of the season. And I think there's a skill and there's planning that goes into that of how do you get a group to, you know, to build as the year goes, because there's a lot of ebbs and flows. You come off a loss, and you know, maybe that motivates you, maybe that deflates you, but we were able to, in general, have that trajectory upwards throughout the season, where we were peaking in November, which is when you want to get going, and then this last year being a lot more consistent throughout the year, where we weren't having 2 good matches and then 1 down match, and that's a skill in itself too, is how to have that sustainable effort where, you know, you're not having, you know, nights off. So I think combining those things, but obviously all of the lessons you learned in previous years, I think there is something to having an NCAA team and playing, not just getting there as a result, but understanding, being deserving of that, what it means to be an NCAA team, what that effort and preparation and, you know, covering weaknesses, building on your strengths, and then you put that together as one body of work at the end of the year, and either you were deserving of that or you were not. And you know, fortunately, you know, we've been part of groups that have gotten to that goal. So I think, like I said, we're not too far off. We've got a lot of work to do, but this is not a start from the ground project. It's not a start from the ground project. There's talent. We have to fill some holes. We have to get better at some things, but that's every year in every program. So we're excited to get to work, and obviously the caliber of athletes that we have in our gym, I'm excited to work with them.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you.